Hello.
How are you doing?
How was your Memorial Day?
It was good. I got a lot of work done. I enjoyed that. How about you?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, got a lot done around the house.
Nice.
Good morning, crew.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ah, It was everybody's weekend. I think I just joined that conversation a little late.
It was good. And I had a nephew
Nice.
who had a birthday party yesterday. That was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So 24,
Oh,
Very
cool.
cool.
very old.
Man, when I was 24, I was still in a rock and roll band. I was
Really?
not. Yeah, that was my previous
Cool.
career thing was touring and playing in stinky bars around around Canada. And now
How
here I am.
cool.
Yeah, now here I am building software on Hiero.
Wow. You are a real rock star. That's very cool.
Hey, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah. Although I actually had a chance this weekend, yeah, work on a bit of music too, which was nice. Working on a bit of
Hmm.
music more so recently.
Nice. Composing
Yeah.
or playing?
I mean, I write a lot of music. I
Yeah.
play drums and I can't have drums in the apartment I'm at right now, but
Hmm.
yeah, but I do write a lot of music, write a lot of lyrics and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, I try to work the other side of my brain if I can.
Very nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, these meetings are all recorded, so someday the world will listen to this and know that you're a rock star.
Oh my goodness. This could be my big break.
What did
Oh,
I
looks like
miss?
Hendrik might be a minute or two late. Oh, I was just telling Lehman about my days playing rock music before building on distributed ledger technologies.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. In this community, so many people have music backgrounds. It's pretty crazy.
Hmm.
I
Very
don't have a
artistic group.
I don't have a you can't see it, but I don't have a music background, but I do have a my beekeeping background. That makes
Hmm.
Right,
also a lot
right.
of noise.
True.
Beekeeping.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So Christian, our marketing person, used to do that. Or yeah, I think he stopped. His bees died though. Have you had problems with
Oh,
that?
Yeah, I mean I
Uh,
lost I did it professionally for about
hmm
8 years. I did queen
mm,
rearing
hmm
as well, and I
hmm
lost my about 60 hives when there
Oh,
were deer throwing it all over. So that was a
oh,
bit of pity.
60 hives in one
60,
year.
yeah, 60,
Ah,
60. So
ah,
Yeah, that's a lot.
that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
and with green rearing, you kind of have your source colonies from which you
Yeah.
take like the genes and you create new queens. So
Yeah.
that was kind of like you instead of having like 400 hives, you have less hives, but you create a lot of
Oh,
queens. So
ah,
that's life.
yeah, that's life. That's very sad.
That's it. Yeah.
People are gonna be watching this recording like, am I watching the right call?
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
a question from me. Can somebody else, maybe I've seen Brandon was sitting in his office, do the screen sharing today because I
Sure, yeah,
missed
yeah.
my power adapter at home this morning and my Mac ran out of power, so I only have my
Oh
mobile
no.
with me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, here I'll pull up you have the agenda just in the repo here.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
give 2 minutes and then to today.
All right, just give me one sec here. Yeah, bye folks. We're doing this live. Okay. Oops. Oh, whoops, hold on. Okay, so can everybody see my screen here?
Yes. Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank
All
you.
right, take it away, Hendrik.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I think it's 5 minutes after, so we can start. So welcome to the Hiero TSC meeting. This is one of the meetings of the Technical Steering Committee of the Hiero project of the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. And I'm happy to see again a lot of people here in this meeting. Since this meeting, like every meeting we are doing at the Hiero project, is a public meeting, which means everybody is invited to attend our meetings. We have a public calendar where you can find the invites to those meetings. You can subscribe to that calendar, and our meetings get recorded. So if you miss a meeting, you can watch it, rewatch it by clicking on a previous calendar entry in our public calendar, and you will find the video link. And since our meetings are public and everybody is invited, and not only invited to attend the meeting, but even invited to start discussion with us, bring topics into those meetings, and so on and so on. It's important that we have a common layer on how we want to interact with each other. And here we using the code of conduct of the Linux Foundation. Under that, next to the antitrust policy of the Linux Foundation, all of our meetings happen. At the end, that just means please be nice to each other. And if you want to discuss things, do it in a friendly manner. And we're all good here. Okay, so let's move to the agenda for today. So I already checked the previous minutes. So there was is Jessica in the meeting? I don't see her because there's one where we're waiting on an answer from Jessica. Oh, Jessica is here. And Brandon, to you, so since some time when you create the PRs, they are created as drafts. I assume that is by accident.
The reason I did that is because usually the current state table of member attendance is in the document before I go in to add the meeting summaries. So when it's not, I just left the PR as draft because I know that that'll have to be added. So that's the only reason why I marked it as draft. More than happy to just mark them as open. I
Okay.
just wanted it to be signified.
Yeah, so from my point of view, we don't need that anymore. I mean, that was just to check who is an active TSC member in this meeting, meaning
Gotcha.
who is able to vote. And since we simplified the charter,
Gotcha.
we don't need that anymore. So yeah, you can just change it back to a real PR, and then we can merge. Because I was asking myself, okay, is something missing here? Should I merge it or not? Okay, then I know it. I will
Perfect.
take care of the ones that are currently open. And okay, that's good.
Perfect.
So the next topic, and I will from now on put HIPs as a topics to each our agenda, because now we have this nice project board. If you can maybe open that one, Brandon. I believe we do not have any TSC that should be presented today, or any TSC we want to do a voting on. Oh, the name I cannot pronounce. Crescent. Is that on voting for today? Let me just check, because we review it on the 12th. So yeah, I mean, that is where we could do a voting.
I
Yeah.
thought we already voted on that.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Richard, is that your memory also?
I
Quiescence
remember
was
that we
voted on.
discussed it. I don't remember voting on it, but now is definitely the time to do it if we haven't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought everybody's comfortable and we just did a vote. I could be wrong. Thanks.
No,
Sorry.
you may be right, but actually, I think you're right. We broke
did.
precedent on that one, and we just voted right away because everybody was good with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let's move it to approved, and the other one still is the simple fees is ongoing. So I think we then in a good state here. Okay, perfect. Which brings us to the next topic, which is the upcoming election. So as announced in the previous meeting, we have an election happening this month because this is now the first time that we will do a re-election for a seat. So since we now have all seats for the TSC filled some time ago, we now at the point where we do elections for those seats to get the persons re-elected or to give other people a chance to be part of the TSC. And as you can see in the timetable, so
Yeah,
we
sorry, I have dark
currently
mode
in
on
the,
GitHub on Hendrix, so
yeah,
sorry if this is faded out.
I think we can read it, and next to it, I mean, there are the 3 bullet points above, right? So we are currently in the nomination phase that will end of this week. So on September 9th, the nomination phase will end. And then on September 10th, we will start the election phase where all maintainers of the Hiero project are allowed to vote on the nominated people for the TSCC. So far, we have 2 nominations, which is first of all Georgi Yarazov, that is already merged. And we have May as a second nomination, who has currently a problem with the PR, while that one has not been merged, but is totally fine from the description. So that is a technical issue here. So at the moment, we have 2 nominations for the TSC seat. So if you want to do another nomination, use this week to create a PR as it's described here in the document, and then next week the voting on it will start. Are there any questions on that election or on our elections in general? I do not know if I see. Oh, I see hands up. Okay, Migan.
Yeah, I've got a question in terms of communication. So obviously this is where the maintainers vote. Do we have a plan on like how we do outreach on make sure that we have the highest voting voters outcome as possible?
So there are 2 things. First of all, what Jessica and I will do, we will create a list of all the maintainers because we need it anyway, right? Because those are the people who are allowed to vote. And when we create the voting, those people will receive a mail and we will announce it in the Discord. I will announce it in the Hashgraph internal chat. If you have internal chats, please announce it there too. And what we can do next to that is creating a blog post on the Hiero blog. I assume it would make sense to have a blog post there. I'm happy to help or even create it based on this document and the information. Maybe somebody wants to help me on that, pair on creating that. Yeah, that would be my suggestion, how to move that forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to add another suggestion because I don't know. My guess is that the pool of maintainers isn't as big as the election of the contributors. I think a wild guess, what will it be, like 20, 30 people?
It's more.
It's more? Okay, so
it's more, yeah.
If it's doable, I'd because I think, you know, the danger having a general approach is in like, hey, we have a blog post, which is great, by the way, because it's also great for exposure and reach. I think that also will be a good idea if it's doable. Of course, if we're talking 200 people, it's different to reach out to them all personally. You know, I don't know to what extent that is possible, and I'm happy to contribute to that as well, obviously. Because sometimes people might think, oh yeah, that's a thing. I might do it or not, and perhaps they're like, hey, if we approach them personally, like, hey, your vote counts.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good idea, but again, it's really only doable if there's like not 200 people. And I think that is just very important that there's always like a huge how do you say that, as big as voters pool that actually vote as possible, because then we get the best representation.
Yeah, so what I would definitely do is, like, in the Hashgraph internet chat, I will ping the people who are allowed to vote. Oh, but Richard has hands up. And now Richard has hands
Sorry,
down.
there
Okay.
we go.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no, sorry. Yeah, just a random thought. I was wondering if we would benefit on these sorts of elections from having like a town hall where we just invite all the maintainers, and then the people who are nominated have a chance to say something. I don't know. Or maybe it's just part of a TSC meeting, since we only have a couple nominees.
Oh, I like that. It's a very good idea.
I like that. And I mean, we have
Me too.
the community. I mean, we can think about doing it in a TSC, or we can think about doing it in the Hiero community meeting. Those are the two meetings where I assume where it would make sense. Live stream, yeah. I mean, Michael, I mean, we have a Zoom meeting, right? And it will automatically afterwards pushed to YouTube. So do you think a live stream, I mean, a Zoom meeting everybody can join is a kind of live stream, right? Or what would you expect to make it better?
Actually, well, one, I think Richard's idea is a good jumping off point. I think doing an actual live stream through something like StreamYard would be really fantastic for this sort of election. Because for the wider public and ecosystem, it kind of shows, okay, this is a legitimate election. It shows how decentralized the TSC is, and it's something that anyone can participate in by joining the live stream. And obviously the folks who are nominated, they can speak as speakers during that event. So I wouldn't say to use Zoom as the platform. I'd say to use something like StreamYard. We've used it before in the ecosystem for plenty of things. I know Hidera's done a number of streams using that tool as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I think, Jessica, that is something we should figure out, what options we have from the Linux Foundation tooling here, right?
Yes. No, I like these ideas.
Diane.
I love the idea of sort of a maintainer town hall. I think that's awesome. There's also the Linux Foundation's mailing newsletter that goes out every Friday that we can put a blurb in as well to reach folks. But we can generate a list of all the maintainers and invite them to something during the community hour that we have. If we live stream that in addition to the Zoom, I think that's totally possible to do both the Zoom and have it go to two feeds. But I've used some of the live stream platforms before, and StreamYard would be good. It's just a sort of a short on-ramp, folks. But if someone has live stream as a platform, maybe we could use that, because I don't think the Linux Foundation uses StreamYard or any of those tools. So maybe if one of the folks who does can volunteer to stream it from, that would be awesome, and work with Jessica.
Yeah, I need to double check if we do, but yeah, I mean, you have definitely more background information on what tools have been used in the past. So if you haven't seen them using StreamYard, then it's probably not something that we use. But yeah, I can work with somebody that has that has access to it.
Yeah, and Brandon wrote in the comments that Zoom has, where was it? Where have I seen it? Zoom has a streaming functionality. Is that correct? Do you?
Yeah, I would say that is a good backup option. I think I agree with Cantor. I mean, There's great platforms out there. StreamYard is good. I would say I mean, I used to um, run like hundreds of people, like remote conferences for different associations and live streams and all sorts of stuff. And then I had my show, of course, and everything. So of all the platforms for this purpose, probably StreamYard is the best. It's the easiest
Okay.
because people you send them the link and then they open it up in their browser and it kind of walks them through and then they join the stream from their browser. They don't need to install any software, and it would be helpful because it could be kind of a one-off thing. It's easy to set it up and schedule it, and it is used quite extensively in the Hedera community. So they're like Michael, myself, there are quite a few people as well, the Genfinity folks like that are very familiar with the platform and more than happy to host. So something that we
Okay,
can
good.
lean on the community for sure.
So I I would say that Jessica should check if Linux Foundation has something for that. And if not, maybe Jessica, you can come together with Michael and Brandon, and we can then check if we can just host it so that we have a live streaming there. Does that make sense?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, good. Oh yeah, there's a question from Richard. If StreamYard will, like stream and or upload to YouTube and or X.
Yep. So on the platform, you start your stream on StreamYard, and then you choose the destinations you want to stream to. So like LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and then as they stream on that platform, once the stream ends, then the videos are there. So then you can change the title, you could add a different thumbnail if you want, and they kind of live
Nice.
ongoing as evergreen content. And also on the StreamYard platform, you can manually download the video file after if you want to make clips or different things like that. And it does a pretty good job handling like connection issues and any issues that can come up. It's pretty cool. And you can see a chat of people engaging on different platforms. You can throw up like lower thirds or make it look a little bit more high-row and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Then Jessica, you should definitely sync up maybe even with Rye, because I mean, if we live stream to YouTube, I would like to have it where our other videos from the TSC and so are, which is the account from the Linux Foundation that is used by Hiero today. So if we get it working with that account, because that hosts all our other meetings, videos, like even the recording from this meeting we're just in, I think that would be a good fit for it. For X, we don't have an account, so I'm totally open to anything. But on YouTube, since videos are already hosted under one account, we should reuse that if possible. So Jessica, maybe you can check that up.
I will.
Perfect, thank you. Good. Anything else on that topic? Okay.
yes,
which
Richard, I
brings
agree with you. We got to get it. We got to get an account on X. I'll assist with that
Yeah.
however needed.
So, which brings us to the next topic, and Mark is here because we have a new project proposal. So, Brandon, maybe you can again, or Mark, do you just want to share and show the proposal?
Yeah, either way, I'm happy to share.
Maybe you just share, then you can always
Yeah,
scroll
here.
to the point you're talking about. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. One moment, please.
All right. Yeah, I've got it cleared for you.
Okay. Okay. Everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So I teed this up about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 meetings ago. But at a high level, we have a new encryption standard called TSS that is going to be used within Hiero. The HIP is in draft. It will be presented to the TSC at a future date, though I don't want to steal the thunder of that HIP. However, I'll provide an overview just so you have a context with regards to this request. So TSS is going to replace our current scheme for nodes attesting to record files, soon to be blocks. And what that means is the mirror node needs a way to verify that the majority of the nodes on the network, their consensus weight more specifically, that a majority of the consensus weight has signed off on that block or record. And through this encryption signing process and verification process, mirror nodes can know, okay, this output data of the network is indeed attested to the protocol, basically. And this is obviously critical to trust and our whole infrastructure. We are looking to update this to what we call TSS. And there's a few different reasons why we want to do this. Firstly, the current scheme, in the current scheme, each node provides a signature on the record file they produce. And then the mirror node goes one by one and checks each signature against the hash that it was signed. So this requires anybody who wants to verify the output of the network to gather multiple files, compare those until they have gone through enough signatures to meet that majority consensus weight threshold. So obviously, it takes extra time, it's extra cost. It does the job, but it isn't elegant, I guess, and cost effective. And it also contributes to a lot of our end-to-end delays. So, when a customer submits a transaction and then waits on the mirror node to actually see the result of that transaction, it increases that time. So what TSS does is it uses what's called an aggregated signature, so that all the nodes partially sign and say, yes, this is my block. And the network itself verifies the blocks across the nodes match. And then one signature is created. And this signature and the proof and the verification can all reside within the block itself. So what that means is verifiers, mirror nodes, downstream data providers, they only have to grab the block to verify the block. So that this multiple processing of multiple signatures and multiple files is reduced and replaced with this one single network signature. And by verifying that network signature, you can attest that a majority of the consensus weight has signed off on that block. So it not only reduces the cost and complexity, but it more importantly, it brings a new primitive to the community where a block itself is independently and forever verifiable by itself. So this is, something that is very useful, when you get into interledger communication or, proofs and other things. So this is foundational to a lot of roadmap features of this new encryption scheme. Excuse me. Right now, this repo with this technology is within Hedera. And I think it's appropriate as of this time that it is in Hedera. There is still work going on. This feature is forecasted to be towards the end of this year. And so we still are preparing it. But at some point when it is ready, this library will be critical to the software build of a consensus node. So this will be a dependent library for the consensus node. So because of that, we wanted to migrate this over to the Hiero repo so that this critical dependency is within the same organization as the consensus node. So I will pause. I'll get into more detail, but let me pause there and see if there's any questions, concerns. My hope is to present this proposal today and then the next week follow up with a vote. I will not be here next week, but my colleague Jeff is on the call here, and he will be representing the conversation next week, Jeff Morgan. So any questions? All right. I think that's either really good or really bad here. So there's a few different components to this signature. One is what I call the aggregated signature. So this allows nodes to partially sign, and then those partial signatures make the network signature. So that is called TSS. And so this library has the TSS part to it. Another thing a verifier needs to verify is that, hey, the nodes that have signed this signature, are they actually part of the network? I'm sorry, Hendrik, do you mind muting, please? Thank you. You have to verify that the nodes are actually indeed part of the network, and then also that the consensus weight assigned to those nodes is correct. Because again, it's not a simple majority of nodes, it's the consensus weight that each node has associated based on how much staking delegations they have. So another part of this standard is actually what we call an address book proof, or a RAPS proof. And you want to, again, use that to verify the nodes that have made up that signature are actually nodes on the network, and then you could ensure the consensus weight that those nodes signed with are indeed what the address book has assigned to those consensus nodes. So there's the TSS signature is a BLS signature with some extra secret sauce or internally developed tech to allow us to have granular weights on those partial signatures to represent that consensus weight. And for that RAPS or address book proof, we use a SNARK, zero knowledge proof, that is recursive. So every address book release, this recursive proof will be regenerated. So the repo is really divided into those two. So you have the hints binaries, then you have that RAPS or address book proof, and then you have some helper libraries and some utilities and such. I mentioned the state where I guess we're just dev complete now. We are doing testing and optimization. The repo will need to go through some housekeeping and some other work to prepare it for this migration. But we wanted to get approval before we got too far into that, or we actually just want to get approval so we understand the strategy and destination of this library. So who will use this? One, release engineers building pipelines and software builds for the consensus node. Again, this will be a dependent library once TSS is introduced. Block verifiers and mirror nodes will also need to use this for the verification software. So they have to download software to actually verify those aggregated signatures and SNARK proofs I mentioned. And then finally, open source contributors who want to contribute to further developing these encryption libraries and technology. We have contributors here. So it's exclusively been hashgraph developments, but we're looking to hopefully broaden that out in our migration over to Hiero. And long term, while this is really focused on TSS, we hope that this repo can be the central source for all encryption technology, as we continue to evolve cryptography on the platform, that this repo could serve as the home base for all those libraries. As far as supporters, I think generally Hashgraph is supporting our lead architecture person, Jasper Potts, is also supportive. Our release engineer, Nathan, is supportive. And then we also have core developers on there that I have cited. So that is the proposal. Hopefully that was understandable and everybody can appreciate what we're trying to do. I'll open it up for questions again here.
Hey, Mark. As you talk about this as a primitive, I know we've already discussed TSS because we've approved HIP 1056 and 1081 block streams and block nodes that include by reference TSS as part of their design. So having this bundled into Hiero makes sense. But I also want to toss out there, we've had different thoughts on other primitives like PBJ that would be maybe contributed separately into different means. And I don't know, Richard, if that's something you could speak to, how you look at TSS as a contribution in Hiero versus a PBJ as a open source project or initiative.
Yeah, my feeling on it is that PBJ belongs with the CNCF if we can get it in there, because that's where all the gRPC, that's where gRPC lives. So if that'd be my first choice for PBJ, would be to put it into like a sibling project to gRPC. But if not, then I would be open to moving it to Hiero. This project, on the other hand, is really only going to be useful to Hiero. So I think that's why it makes sense to move it to Hiero.
Well, the reason I say maybe elsewhere as well, because as Mark was highlighting that this is also useful for interledger communications. So to the extent that TSS is built into either bridges or other interledger technologies in a more standardized way, does that have any merit to it?
Yeah, I can address that. So interledger communication is something we'll be doing. A cross-ledger communication, the cross-ledger protocol, Clipper, is something separate from this. It builds on top of it. And absolutely, I can imagine that eventually we end up with a repo for Clipper that is something other blockchains do, and you could even talk about moving it somewhere else. But this cryptography component can still just be a little component where it is right now, inside of us, and it creates a compiled artifact that is used by that other thing, by Clipper. So we wouldn't necessarily need this crypto library to move, even if Clipper ended up somewhere else eventually. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I again, my thoughts were just to see if this adoption within Hiero also helps promote the inclusion of TSS in other platforms and other technologies in a broader way, say part of the Bouncy Castle suite of libraries and things like that.
If they ever did, they'd probably want to have their own clone of it that they could manage independently. The Bouncy Castle people. Yeah, so for the moment, I think it's best incubating here, and then maybe eventually even clones of it end up inside of other projects, but we probably wouldn't move it elsewhere from the beginning like we would with PBJ.
Okay. Yeah, I trying to compare and contrast the different options we have here, but
Right.
I definitely appreciate the explanation.
So I don't know how to hands up on my device. Sorry, so I will just say something. So Alex, I assume it would totally make sense to have it in LFDT, and there is no like project within LFDT which is like, oh, this is cryptography based or something like that, you know. And I would say from its scope, it would be not big enough to be a full project under LFDT. And with that, I believe having it now in Hiero just makes sense. And having it in Hiero do not mean that others won't use it. Maybe it allows us to onboard others to Hiero. Because even if you only take care on that project, you can become a committer or a maintainer on Hiero, right? Especially for that project then.
So, Hendrik, this is Diane. I did manage to get my hand up there. This might be something that, in order to get it more visibility, if we put it in the LFDT labs and incubated it, might be a possibility as well. We had talked about that a few meetings ago, leveraging the labs to do incubation, especially if this is something that you think other chains and other projects would use. It might have some visibility.
Lehman?
Yeah, let me just reply to that. So I think we could say that about Clipper, but it's hard to say that about this. TSS, this crypto library is a lot of, in some ways, unrelated fragments. It's really just the Hiero project that needs these fragments to come together in this way. It's not really a bouncy castle competitor. It's more like just the odds and ends that we're using at the moment. So I think when we get to Clipper, we can talk about things like incubating and so on. But for this, it's really just the odds and ends that we specifically need.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Alex?
Yeah, along those lines, I think that to Dan, what you were saying, I'm wondering if as we look at this, not only at a point in time like right now, but what I don't know is there a path that at some point this becomes bigger than Hiero? I know, Liam, you mentioned this is specific to or most useful really for this Hiero code base, but maybe in the future that's not the case. Is there a pathway that this then gets either becomes its own project within LFDT or is migrated elsewhere, if it makes sense? I'm not saying we should plan for it, but only if it makes sense.
Let me explain what this thing actually is. So there is, when we say TSS, when we say cryptography in general, we're talking about TSS. This is a way of doing aggregate signatures. I can see people using that. Then it's also a zero knowledge proof that does our recursive address book proving. Well, you don't really need that unless you have Hiero style address books. And then there's also this verification library that verifies gluing those two together with a Merkle tree. Okay, that's getting very specific to us. And then there's also going to be a zero knowledge compression system for the address book. Well, okay, that's a very, very specific zero knowledge thing that only works kind of with us. And then there's also going to be one for compressing the three components of a state proof into a single component with a state proof. Okay, that's another component that really is specific to us. These components work with each other, but they're actually useless if you just had this repo by itself. You really need most of the rest of Hiero for it to make any sense at all. So when you look at this, it really isn't a project. It really isn't what you would think of as a thing that people will talk about the way Bouncy Castle is a thing that people talk about. You know, that's a full crypto library. It's really just a few fragments, and they don't make any sense outside of Hiero. However, we are eventually going to have some things that you could actually think of as a project that other people could use. So you could think of Clipper perhaps will eventually become an actual thing, and another blockchain might say, hey, I want that thing. That might make more sense. But this isn't that. This is just a crypto library of the few tools that we decided that we needed. It's not enough tools to really make it a full crypto library. We really wouldn't want to push a competitor to Bouncy Castle. Just let Bouncy Castle take these tools. But eventually we may find that Clipper grows into what you're describing. I don't know if that makes it clearer what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think that helps. Okay, any other questions or comments? Again, wanted to give you all time to review the proposal and come back next week with further questions. But just wanted to introduce this proposal for your consideration. Okay, thank you.
Okay, which brings us to, and first of all, thanks, Mark, for giving that overview and answering all those questions. So this brings us to any other topic. So does somebody in the meeting has any topic he would or she would like to bring to the TSC, you would like to discuss, or any questions for the TSC or for the Hiero community in general? Okay.
Well, just
If-
one question. What
Yeah.
what kind of cake should we have for our 1 year anniversary?
Yeah, I assume it will be a virtual cake, right? Because we don't sit together.
I know,
but
I know.
that's a very good thing. Yeah, yeah, that is so great. That I mean, yeah, that's a very good question, Alex. Right? It's now 1 year, and we did graduation in that year, all the releases, and so that is so great. Yeah, maybe we should think about doing something in Milan.
Yeah, that's a very good question. No, it's just something, you know, Hendrik, you know me. I if I see something that my brain just can't avoid to say something about it. I was just looking into, like, I was on the governance repo, and I was looking at the maintainers. I was thinking, I don't think company affiliation is entirely correct, so that might be something to look into, because I just heard Alex talking and I was like, Alex, but that's not Hashgraph affiliation, that's Hedera affiliation, right? And just for my brain being able to put everything in the right box. But maybe I'm wrong, or
Yeah,
shall I share the link? Just for the sake for my how do you call that? And also because of like the TSC and the one representative of Hedera and max 2 company affiliations
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
in the same TSC. I like when things make sense in
Actually, I changed that some time ago. I know that I've seen it, and I changed Alex from Hashcraft to Hedera. But maybe that was in another repo, because I've already seen exactly that and changed it.
Stoyan
Maybe
as well.
yeah. Maybe I haven't looked in the governance repo for that, because that is like one of those repos. I mean, it's not a project like our project, or the TSC repo is for the TSC. So maybe I missed that one. But yeah, it makes totally sense, Migan, to fix that. Especially, I think that will be a good thing to do, since we need to look into those files anyway now for the voting, for the election, because all maintainers are allowed to vote. So Jessica, maybe we should have a look in each of those files, check if it's correct, next to the YAML configuration that we technically have to define that. And if we see a company or something is not correct, we will directly change it.
Yeah, I think
That's great. Yeah, and because I believe there's also LimeChain instead of Hashgraph. And yeah, I just, because to answer my own question from the beginning, in the meantime, I ran a query. I mean, it did very quickly, so I have no idea whether it's very right or not. But it gave me like 68 unique maintainers. FYI.
68, yeah, that makes more sense. That was the range. When I checked it some time ago, I was near to that. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Great. That's all me, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward for the cake in September or something.
Good. Anything else?
Just real quick, did 1261 get voted on? I know we brought it for review, but did it get voted on?
Which one is it?
It's simple fees.
Oh no, because at Simple Fees there were so many discussions going on, and even discussions in the PR, if I have seen it correctly, that we decided, or I talked with Richard about it, to not vote on this yet. Maybe that has
Okay.
changed and
That's fine.
it's now ready. I don't know. But that was the last state of it that I was aware of.
Okay. All right.
So maybe for next week we can recheck if it's ready for voting.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Good. Okay. So if we don't have any other topics, I think we can stop 10 minutes early. Thanks for being in this meeting, for being part of the Hiero community, for supporting the TSC in those meetings, and hope to see you in, another Hiero meeting this or next week. See you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.